Hey everybody, Ray here. You know, about once a year, I decide that I want to clean up my workbench a little bit. Last year when I decided that, I came up with how to recover the top of my bench, which was kind of old, brown, ugly, had paint spots on it, and I recovered it with this vinyl flooring. It's worked out great. It's durable, it's easy to clean, I couldn't be happier with it. If you want to see how I did that, I'll put that video up here for you. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to find some different ways to reorganize my garage. And hopefully you'll pick up some tips as I go along, things that you might be able to do with your place. So let me give you a couple of examples of things I'm going to work on. My stop block that I use for my miter saw, I store up here on my pegboard. Well, it doesn't need to be up there. And just below it, on top of my plug bank here, I've got all of these glues and so forth down here. So I thought, if I can move this, I've got plenty of room to put a shelf back here that I can put all these glues and so forth on, and then I can get them out of the way and off my desk. Another example, I've got these gloves. I like to keep these rubber gloves, nitrile gloves around, so if I'm working on projects where my hands would get dirty, I can put these on real quick. Well, I've got them sitting on my bench and taking up space. But there's no reason that I can't make a container for them and put them on the wall so I can pull them out as I need them. Another example, I've got this rotary grinding tool here. It's a great little tool when I use it, but you know what? I don't use it very frequently. I need to find a place to store this and get it off of my workbench. Also, I've got some white paint here left over from another project. I've always thought that this pegboard would look better and it would be much brighter if I painted it white. So we're going to take everything down and we're going to paint it white, and then we're going to put things up in a reorganized way because I've got some new squares and so forth coming, and I'm going to have to hang them on the wall here. So stick around. Like I said, hopefully you'll find some ideas that you can use in your own place. If you like this video, give me that thumbs up if you would, please. I would really appreciate it. Sometimes the ideas come pretty quickly. For example, trying to figure out what to do with this stop block, I thought I'd like to put it on the wall here where the rest of my jigs are that I use. But then I thought it really doesn't take up very much space. So I simply put a hook on the end of it, and then on the side of this cabinet here, I just put a wood screw. And then I just hang it from that wood screw. It doesn't interfere with this cabinet whatsoever. And then for the stop blocks themselves, I did the same thing. I just put a hook on there and a wood screw in the side of this cabinet. Now they're out of the way and they're over with the rest of my jigs. That worked out great. Well, we got everything cleaned off the walls, off the work table here. It took a good hour to get all this stuff off. Now we're ready to paint this wall white. And through the magic of video, that's going to happen in a matter of seconds. Well, we've made some good progress today. We got 2 coats of paint on our pegboard. I think it looks a lot nicer with all this white. And when I get it filled in with all of my measuring tools and so forth, it'll kind of knock a little bit of that brightness off of here. Some of the stuff is going right back where it was. My little shelf here, my screwdriver holder, and these, by the way, are made with French cleats. And I really like French cleats because you can put them anywhere you want and then just put your shelf on the cleat. And when you're tired of it or you want to move it, you just take the screws out and move. You might notice that I had the belt sander here and I had my benchtop drill press here. Both of those have been moved down. I found room for them under the counter here. I don't use them that often, so there's really no point in leaving them up here to take up space. I've got a lot more stuff to get put up here, and as I get closer to completing this, I'll bring you back. In an effort to try to get things off of my workbench, I'd like to hang this box of nitrile gloves up on my wall. I've done that with my sandpaper pieces here, and when I looked at this box I thought, you know, that looks to be about the same size, and it is. So I can use this as sort of a template to design the box that I want for this. I'll cut a little notch out of down here so the gloves will slip out more easily, and then I'll have like two matching pieces that go together. The only difference is I use some 3/4 inch here, and I'm going to do this all with some scraps of 1/4 inch plywood that I've got laying around. So I'll start measuring and cutting, and then I'll bring you back and show you how I do this. Okay, I've cut all of my pieces to size here. The back is 11 3/4 inches tall. The sides are 6 7/8 inches tall and 3 inches wide. And then the front is 6 7/8 inches tall and 5 1/2 inches wide. So it will fit up front like that with the two sides. Today I'm going to try something a little different. I want to get this glued up, but I don't want to take all day doing it. And this 1/4 inch really is too thin to be using brad nails. So what I've done is I've put some regular wood glue on two sides here, and then on the ends and in the middle I put some CA glue. And then I sprayed some accelerant down here on the base. So I'm going to try to just fit this on there real quick and as straight as I can and see if it'll hold it, so I can just continue to put the rest of the box together. So I've got it on there, I'm squeezing it down, I'm going to hold that for a little while, let that accelerant do its job on the CA glue. And in theory, when I pick this up, it should be held fast to the bottom piece here, and then I can do the other side. Yep, that worked just fine. So I'm going to continue to glue up some more of these pieces. I thought I'd show you in more detail how I did this glue up. I'm just taking some regular wood glue, putting it in between. I maybe could do all this with CA glue, but the problem with CA glue is if you bang it really hard after it's dry, it might very well come off. So this glue will add that extra strength. So I put some of the extra glue on there, the wood glue, and now I'm going to add some CA glue here. I've already sprayed this right here with accelerant, which will sit on there for a little while before you use it. And then I just have to line this up. Hold it on there as straight as I can. Takes around 10 seconds or so with that accelerant for the CA glue to dry. And it looks like it's holding just fine. That's how it works. So there you go, it worked great. I need gloves, just pull them out of there like I'd pull tissues out of a box. Now one of the things I want to do is to get all of my glues and stuff up off of my workbench here and on a small shelf up here. I'm not going to have that shelf stick out very far because I don't want to have to be banging my head on it. And it's going to have to be deep enough to fit my tallest object, which I'm going to put up there, which is this glue. So it's going to have to come down about 10 inches. So I'm going to put this down about 10 inches. It's going to be about 4 inches out from the wall, and I'll make it about 4 feet wide. It should be a great place to put all those glues and so forth. To make this shelf, I just picked up a bunch of scraps. I've got some white pegboard here that I'm using for the bottom of my shelf, and I had some about 1 by 2 pieces of poplar and pine laying around. And so what I did was, I decided I wanted it 4 feet long, so each one of these pieces here is 24 inches. And then I decided I would band it all the way around with these 1 by 2s so it would have some strength. So what I did was I took this over to the table saw and made a couple of repeated cuts so I would have a slot to fit this pegboard into like that. So it would have lots of support. So I did that to all of my scrap pieces of 1 by 2. And then I came back and I measured the scrap pieces of 1 by 2 such that they would fit the length of this pegboard, making sure that at least I was bridging where this little seam would be between the two pieces. So it essentially will look like this. Then what I'll do is I'll just grab some CA glue and I'll just glue these butt ends together. You can glue butt ends with CA glue. Just make sure you get a good heavy coating on there. I use the thick when I do something like that. It's not going to have a lot of stress on these joints, so I'm not worried about it too much. The ends, I'll come back after I've glued them up, and I'll put some brad nails in the ends just to make sure it's got strength on the ends. But this should work really fine. It was really simple, and I just used up a bunch of scraps. So our little shelf here worked out just great. Allowed me to use up a bunch of scraps, which I love to do. And I was able to put just some L brackets on there that I had laying around. I put one in the middle and one on both ends. The ones on the end, because it's 48 inches in length, actually hit studs. So this is a really secure little shelf. I think it worked out well for us. Now on to the next thing. A great way to store pens and pencils and things like that is to make a bunch of PVC cups. Now this PVC is about 2¼ inches in diameter. It's about 4 inches high, but you could make it higher if you want. In this case, I made this one 6 inches. Plug the bottom with something. In my case, I used wood. And then cut off another strip of that PVC pipe about 1 inch wide, and then cut about 40% of it off this way. Drill a hole in the back. And then you take that piece that you just drilled the hole in and you mount that to your wall. This PVC pipe will just snap right in there, and then you can put your pens and pencils in there. You want to take them to where you're working, just take it off and take it over to where you're working, and then put them away. It's a great little storage tool. Well, I think that just about wraps up my annual shop reorganization effort. You know, it took me about 1.5 days because I actually took everything down. I had to put 2 coats of paint on this pegboard to get it right. But the thing about that is it helps you rethink and reorganize as you're putting it back together. I'm really pleased about the fact that I was able to find a place to put the drill press and the sander underneath the workbench. I'll take it out when I need it, but I've picked up all that space when I'm not using it. All of the glues and so forth that were sitting here on the bench are now up on that little shelf that we made. I really like that. That works great. I'm not a big fan of the pegboard, actually. I don't like the hooks. They tend to fall out. But one good thing about it is you can move things around when you need to. And I've created space here for some new tools because we always need new tools. I'm happy with the white on the pegboard. I think it really makes everything stand out, makes it so much brighter, and it's easier to see the tools. And you know what? As part of this cleanup effort, I filled up a trash can full of stuff. So I hope you were able to pick up at least one thing that maybe you can use in your own shop and try to organize yourself a little bit better. And don't forget, if you liked anything in this video, hey, give me that thumbs up button if you would. I appreciate it. And you might want to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.